I remember very clearly the day that I knew things were going to change in my world. I was 12. And it was my grandmother's funeral. I do have a couple of videos talking about her death and whatnot, but this is actually the day of the burial service, the funeral itself. I had found out later on in life as an adult that my father, my aunt, my uncle were apparently closer to their mom than what I realized. And her death affected them. Well, two of them I knew, one I wasn't so sure, but it affected them very dearly, as it would anyone, you know, as it would anyone, so totally understandable. But for my father, things have not been going well in the marriage. He had already been slipping off. He was an alcoholic. He had a lot of paranoia. I mean, my dad had issues. If you'll go back and look at some other videos, you'll see the kind of mind games he played with people. You'll see the kind of paranoia that he lived with. You will see the odd behaviors that he had. There's just a lot of different stories. And I will say I loved my dad. But honestly, I didn't know my dad well enough to say that. I feel like I probably love who I think he was. Or the person I knew, the relationship with the part of him that I had, has always been a struggle. But I knew the day that things were going to change. Things were coming to an end. I knew that the fighting was over with my mom. I knew the staying out late at his shop was long gone. I knew the late nights at the VFW, at least as far as I knew, was long gone. And that was the day of my grandmother's funeral. We had been at the funeral home. We had lingered. He had sat with the body. He had spoken to her, you know, hours upon hours upon hours upon hours. And then came the funeral service. And then you get the progression where you can go up and see the body, and when it was his turn, I mean, he fell apart, and they had to escort him out, and we weren't sure that he even needed to go to the graveside, but he absolutely was going to go, and we had another small little ceremony there at the graveside to say our final goodbyes, and they put the caskets on the hardware, the silver hardware, generally with the belts that will guide the casket down into the pits. And as they usually try to let the family disperse a little bit and let people kind of get going and then take care of that a little more privately, a little more delicately. But we were lingering, I'm telling you, and we were staying, and they finally had to get their job done. And when they started to lower the casket into the grave, my father flung himself into the grave on top of the casket and rode it down. And just screaming, my mother, my mother, my mother, you know, don't leave me, my mother. And it was heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking, and it was the end. I knew it was all over. I knew that at that moment that maybe he had only been staying around because of what his mother would think, and that no longer mattered. And he pretty much left home that day. He pretty much, we got home, he packed his stuff and left. And then that becomes the chapter where we start hunting for him and trying to figure out what he's doing. But anyway, that was the day it all ended, the day that he rode the casket down into the grave itself. And it was very, very sad, very hard. And you know what? He never got over it. My dad's been gone. He's passed away May 2011, which makes it almost a year. Wow. And he never moved on. Never moved on. It never helped. He moved on from us, but he didn't move on from his problems. He never could outrun them. So, anyway, just another little tidbit. Have a good day.